Just thinking then about One Direction. In fact, I'm friends with some of the boys. I say some of the boys, one of the boys from One Direction, and they. How do you like make them ambitious, but at the same time make them not lose their mind? Because I sat with Liam and he was on the podcast and he talked about his struggles, struggling with all of these things, the change in his life. We all wish and dream for that.
Yeah.
But then the reality is something that no one can be prepared for.
Yeah.
The brain is not set up in such a way to deal with that amount of hysteria around you. So has your thoughts around this changed or evolved based on your own experiences as Simon and the things you've been through?
Well, personally, I think it's better to have success than not.
Yeah.
What is great, what I said to the boys, and, it was quite obvious, once they were on the show, they were going to be really, really successful with the right records. I mean, for me, they were like the perfect group.
Are they the most successful artist you've ever developed?
Oh, gosh. I actually don't know the answer to that. Wow. No. I mean, I know they were very successful. They sold a lot of records.
Okay.
They made a lot of money. I said to them, a lot of what we're talking about, which is don't ever complain about paparazzi because they are going to take your pictures. Don't complain about invasion of privacy because people are going to always want a picture taken with you. Don't complain about the long hours because there are going to be long hours. So if none of this, if any of this is a problem, just do something else. I mean, because I promise you, all of this is going to come with it. There'll be times where you're going to go, my God, this is a grueling schedule. And, oh my God, can't someone just leave me alone for 1 minute because I want to have my dinner? Why are you taking my picture? That is going to come with the territory. And the truth is, it's worth it. It's a very, 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 it's not even a price to pay. It just comes with it. It's hard work. You are going to become well known. And you are going to lose a lot of your privacy. If you want to be an accountant, you're not going to have any of those issues. It just won't be as much fun. So, some people want to be accountants. Some people want a more exciting life. Mm-hmm. I've always been a huge fan of bands because it's a much easier way. First of all, I think it's more fun being in a band than being a solo artist.
Yeah.
Particularly if you like your bandmates. It's a brilliant way to get noticed if you want to become a successful solo artist, like they've all become. Mm-hmm. And being in the band was the catalyst to that.
Could you have predicted, I know all the boys have done really well in their own endeavours, but Harry has become, well, he still is a megastar. And often with boy bands, once they break up, they kind of, some of them fizzle out and whatever, but Harry seems to have just taken on, he's really managed to find his own groove, it appears.
I'm not going to lie. I mean, the first time I met Harry, he sang a Stevie Wonder song. We spoke about pies. So I'm not sitting there thinking you're going to become one of the most successful artists in the world in 12 years' time. I mean, no one would have thought that. I just thought you're unbelievably charismatic and you're fun. And the audience are like you and great. And then for whatever reason, it didn't work out, in my opinion, for them as solo artists, for different reasons in that part of the show. And then we just had this idea in the moment to put them in a band. And then, like I said, where I think pretty much all of them have done great is that they've used the group as a vehicle to go where they really want to go in their lives. And would Harry be Harry without One Direction? Well, none of us could answer that. I couldn't tell you. All I know is being in the group definitely made it easier.
Of course.
And that's why I thought, interestingly, about 7 or 8 years ago, I thought there's not going to be any need for these shows anymore because of social media. And here's the crazy thing, is that the amount of UK artists that have broken globally in the last, say, 7 years has fallen off a cliff. Literally. If you think about how many global artists, British, have broken globally in the last 7 years, it's possibly 3, which is crazy.
I can't think of 3.
Well, how can I?
Are they going to come back?
I doubt it.
You doubt it?
I doubt it.
Spice Girls came back? Spice Girls came back many years later?
The one thing I regret is I should have kept the name.
Oh, you should have owned the name.
I should have owned the name.
You didn't own the name?
No.
Who owns the name?
They do.
Oh, okay.
That's the problem. Could have made an animation or whatever. But when you give an artist the name, it's not yours. And that's my only regret. So if you're listening, I'll buy it back from you.
So they all 5
In fact,
of them
we
own
could do it as a partnership.
Well,
yes,
sure.
There we go. Yes. You were there. But that's the only thing I do regret, because if one of the band members, for whatever reason, say they don't want to tour, it can stop the others touring. Mm-hmm. So if it was me who owned the name, it wouldn't be a problem.
You could do a tour with 3 of them. So that's what's stopping a tour, because do they all own 20%?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
I mean,
wow.
I can be very naive at times, and that was me being very, very naive. So next time, that will be part of the deal. I have to own the name. They can still make most of the money, but I need to own the name.
You're searching for another boy band?
Yeah, and I'm doing it because, right now, there isn't, I don't think, a band who has been as good as One Direction since One Direction, in my opinion. And if you look at the amount of solo artists versus bands right now in the world in pop music, it is unbelievable. I mean, if you think of Motown and that whole era, it was as many bands as there were solo artists. So something has gone amiss. And the only way I know to put a band together is somebody has to audition them. And so we just thought, you know what? If I don't do it this year, I'm going to really regret it. So let's just do it. And we're going to document the whole process. So this time, you're going to see exactly what happens from the minute we go, we're going to do it, to how you logistically do it, how do you choose the people, blah, 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 because I think it will be interesting. But there's no safety blanket on this in terms of, I haven't gone to a record label and go and say, right, I'm doing this, will you guarantee me a record deal? I've got to hope that the band are good enough to get a record deal.
What's the secret sauce?
People, I mean, it is personality. I mean, I think that's the one thing about One Direction is they all had great personalities and they were just interesting people. And as the first time I saw them as a band, after we asked them to be in a band, I was in Spain and I saw them walking up the beach. And as they're walking up the beach, everyone's looking around. No one had ever heard of them at this point. And I thought, it's unbelievable. Everyone's looking at these 5 boys as if they're already stars. And there was just this glow about them. And because, I've had hits with bands, I've had misses with bands. And it could be that I was 1% off or I was 80% off. I don't know. But when it doesn't work, there's no money in the world that will make something that isn't going to work. Mm. It's just one of those things. You just got to hope you get lucky and find the right people.
Have you got better at it over time?
I don't know. I don't know. It could be that I'm completely useless now. All I know is if I had to trust anyone to do it, I would trust me more than anyone else. I would.
And are you waiting for a feeling? Is it like, or is there like some kind of data in AI and some Excel spreadsheet that ranks them based on, these things? Is it a feeling?
Yeah. It has to be. And this is the difficulty, is that you are selling an act to somebody who I'm not. You know, your fans are going to be primarily teenagers. So you've kind of got to guess what that audience are going to like. But don't overthink it, because I've seen a lot of people, particularly recently, put bands together and they walk out, and within 1 second, I'm thinking all of this is wrong. I can tell that someone's told them what to wear. I know what their spiel's going to be. It's all rehearsed, nothing spontaneous. And I'm thinking, why does that person, whoever's behind the scenes, why can't they let them just be themselves? That's why I said to One Direction, which is, look, I can just give you a broad kind of like I said, this is what's going to probably happen when you're successful. And then after a few years, you're going to want to leave the band. That's going to happen, and blah, 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 blah. Oh, no, we're going to be friends forever. I said, yeah, whatever. Do what you like. And that was sort of it. I just say, look, when you got a problem, come to me. It's really down to you to make this work. You've got to love the records you make. You've got to influence the records you make. You can't dance, so don't try and dance. Don't ever hire a stylist, because you've already got great taste. And just be yourselves, and really, really have fun. Because like I said, there will be days where you're going to go, oh God, I'm really tired. I don't like this. And, no one will leave me alone. And then in 10 years' time, you're going to look back on this and go, wow, we had a blast.